excuse me. And then she told me that she was at the movies earlier with her friends and she had paid for everybody to get in, but they left her there with no way to get home, and she didn't have any money on her. She didn't know how to get home, and if I could give her some money for a cab. And I just didn't know if the story was legit, and I didn't know her at all, so I was like, no, I'm sorry. And then she asked for a ride home. And I'm new to the area, so I didn't really know where she was going, but the places that she named I didn't recognize. So I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going that way. And then I just left, so I was gonna go home. And as I was walking back to my car, I just felt really bad, and I remember all the times when I was screwed or needed help or, you know, up the creek without a paddle, and I decided to go back. I was like, Lynn, you need to go back there and give her a ride to wherever she needs to go. And I was like, okay. So I walked back to the theater and I found her talking on the phone on a bench, and I offered her a ride, and then she was on the phone with her mom, which is weird because she's like 30 at least. Her mom was like, no, you're not getting a car with a stranger. So she's like, okay. So she's just like gonna stay there. I was like, okay. So I came home by myself, but I'm really glad that I offered her a ride home, because just a month ago I was in DC and I was taking the last train back to my hotel from like hanging out with my friends, and I took the wrong train. I took the yellow line. Oh, I took the green line. I was supposed to take the yellow line, and it was the last train. And we got off. I got off at the stop that I didn't recognize when I realized that something was wrong, and it was Anacostia, which apparently is like the hood. And then there was no other trains going back, and the station was shutting down. And the train station guy was like really mean. So he just kicked me out of the train station. I was freezing, I was lost, I didn't know where I was. He gave me the numbers to like a cab company, and I called like 3 or 4 different companies, but nobody would come out there because I guess it was like really late and it was like not close to the city center, and also it was like the hood. It was like a really bad neighborhood. So nobody would go there, and I didn't know what to do. There was like no cars even. Like where the station was, there was no cars. So I walked until I found a car that was like parked at a red light. So I went up, and there was like a single black guy like driving, and he was just like parked at the red light. So I tried to get him to roll down his window so I could ask if he could possibly give me a ride, and I'll pay him. But as soon as he saw me, this like look of horror and disgust like came over his face. He must have thought I was like a crack whore trying to buy drugs or suck his dick, I don't know. And he just like floored it and like ran the red light and like disappeared. So I was like, oh fuck, now I know I'm in a bad neighborhood. When I looked up and I saw like Martin Luther King Boulevard and like a guy that just like floored it as soon as I went up. It was bad. So I was scared. I saw a bus, so I was like running after the bus trying to get a ride, but it was out of service. And then anyway, it just left. And then I saw like a car that had a light on top of its roof, so I thought it was a taxi, and I got really excited. So I like waved it down, and it turned out to be like a pizza delivery guy, and he's like, get in or get out, because we were on like an on-ramp. So I got in. His car was like really dirty and shabby, and there was like all these empty bottles everywhere. But I needed a ride anyway, so I was like, I'll pay you, you know, if you could just get me back to my hotel. And he's like, well, I'm still delivering pizzas, like my shift's not gonna be over until 1. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, that's fine. So we went to his pizza shop and like picked up pizzas, and we were like delivering them, and it was crazy. So he's from Sudan, and he's been in DC for about 4 years. He's been like delivering pizzas the whole time. He's really nice. And then it was like the hood like I never seen it. Like, well, people like who order pizzas didn't even have an address. They were just like standing in front of a house, and then we would deliver to the address of like the house that they were standing in front of. So they're just like hanging out on the street, like on the sidewalk. Who would pull up to the address, and then they would be like standing in front of the house, but they weren't like, it wasn't their house. So he's like, get the money first. So the guy gives me the money through like this little crack in the window, and it was like exact change, like down to like the penny. And then we gave him the food, and then we drove to like this other house, and all the windows of like all the houses on the street were boarded up except for like 2 or 3 houses at the end. So it was just like dilapidated and like horrible. There was like no like numbers on the doors. And then some guy comes out, and then he's like just roll down the window like a tiny bit. I guess the guy paid with like a credit card. So yeah, anyway. But he did. He drove me, after delivering all the pizzas, he drove me back to my hotel, and then I tried to pay him, and like he wouldn't accept any money. He was just like a really nice person. And I think like if he didn't help me out, or gave me a ride or something, I don't know what would have happened to me. I was so scared. I was lost, and it was like dark and cold and really late, and I had to get up really early the next day. So thank you to the pizza guy. I think his name was Tarek. Thank you, Tarek from DC. Pizza delivery guy, thank you. Helped me out, saved me. And there's been countless times when I was like just fucked. Because, you know, I travel a lot, and I get myself in situations. And I'm really glad that there's nice people out there who are willing to, you know, help out somebody that they didn't know. And I'm glad that I did the right thing today by offering help to somebody that needed it, instead of just walking away like I was going to originally. So that's my Sunday Funday story. Thank you for watching my vlog. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Bye!